Bakugo would glide through the air, using his explosions to propel him forward, as he was tracking the primary source of Titan within Arkham City, all while being in communication with Bruce. "What's the situation back at UA?" "Not good. Everyone's being into a frenzy at this point. The staff are trying their best to keep your fellow students under control, although it's a lot easier said than done, especially when one of your own gets dragged out by a paramilitary group and thrown into the world's most dangerous maximum security prison outside of Tartarus." "It still doesn't make any sense," Bakugo would say, still recalling when all of it went down. They were sitting in the common area of the UA dormitory, just watching TV and preparing for dinner, when suddenly multiple Tiger guards with their guns drawn came charging into the building. They had their guns set on Izuku, but they were keeping an eye out for anyone else. From what Bakugo could gather, it took everything for him to hold himself. And if he didn't know any better, he could have sworn that there were a few guns specifically pointed in his direction, almost like they were counting on him to do something. Of course, their main target was Izuku Midoriya, who they took down without a fight, handcuffing him and dragging him out. Of course, the other teachers and staff were appalled at the display, and, of course, with fellow parents, among them being Izuku's own mother, who was shocked out of her mind to see how her son was being treated, and then there was Principal Nezu and Mr. Aizawa, among others. It had gotten to the point where even All Might and Melissa were on their way back, cutting their trip to Eye Island rather short. All Might had been in communication with Bruce to check on young Midoriya and how he was doing. All of this had just happened so fast, there was nothing that they could really do about it. But it wasn't a coincidence. It was planned out. "Do you think there's another mole? Like Aoyama was?" "It could be. Although Aoyama had his ties to the Court of Owls and to the Shie Asaikai. Who knows how much information they could have on all of you at the moment. Whether or not they're involved, that's an entirely different story. But the Shie Asaikai have mostly been all but disbanded at this point, after Shisaki was incarcerated along with most of his gang. The court, while they could have something to do with it, I doubt anything of this magnitude would be in their expertise. They choose to operate from the shadows more than anything else, and all of this is just too out in the open for them. Perhaps it's a form of revenge against Izuku or something like that." "You actually called him Izuku." "Shut up. How is he anyway?" "He's already gotten the enzyme. He's making his way towards Freeze to get the cure. As for Kochi, he is continuing his process with tracking the political assassinated prisoners. And as for Shinso, he's on the tails of the telephone killer. As for you, you're going to be rounding up the Titan containers." "Yeah, but the primary signature is coming from this old building, a toy shop." "Stay on guard. Someone could be in there waiting." Bakugo would open the door. As he descended inside, he found an old man sitting in a chair with a doctor attending to him. The doctor quickly looked fearful upon seeing Bakugo, dressed as the Red Hood, worrying that there was yet another super criminal looking to cause trouble. "Please, he's just a patient. He doesn't mean you any harm. We're not looking for trouble." "I didn't come here to start trouble. I came here because I'm looking for something." "Bane," Bruce would say. "This is Bane?" He doesn't look anything like his profile would have suggested. The doctor, now having a bit more confidence, would speak up. This is Bane, sir. At least, what's left of him. Another one. After all, this time, you've come for the Titan, haven't you? Well, I guess there's no point in wasting time now, is there? Bakugo would say. I know a bit about you. I know about the Titan, and I need to know what you're involved with all of it. Although given your look and your current state, you don't seem like the type of person who could be using Titan right now. Of course not, the doctor would say with a serious tone. Look at him. Look at what it's done to his body. It's ravaged him beyond compare. And if it wasn't for that, all the superpowered brawls this man has been in his lifetime, I'm surprised that he's still able to live at this point. You've come for the Titan. I've come to destroy it. I found one container inside of the museum. This here is the primary signature for it. My nephew, he's helping to get rid of the Titan. Would you join in this crusade? You've been abusing Titan your whole life. Why change up now and want to destroy it? Too dangerous. In wrong hands, only small amounts remain. When I die, the secret of Titan dies with me. So, looking to make right in your final hours, Bakugo said. All right then. According to my signature, there are at least 12 more containers. Well, save for the one that I've already destroyed. I'll take care of 5. Can I get into contact with your supposed nephew? I will inform him. All right then. I'll meet you back here when I'm done. Try not to die on me. As Bakugo would exit out of the building, there were a few questions on his mind. Say for one, who in the hell was the nephew of Bane? That was something that even had Bruce's curiosity. In all the years that he had gone to battle with him, even having his back broken, he'd never once heard or come across any familial ties that Bane could have had. And in Japan, of all places, Bane wasn't even originally from this country, although it was the country outside of the U.S. where he liked to make the most trouble. According to my database, there isn't any news of a nephew of Bane. Who knows who he could be working with? But for now, you should focus on destroying the Titan containers. There are at least 5 more that you'll have to deal with. And, given your current location, the closest ones will be near the steel mill in the Southeast Industrial District. All right then. You know, I could just blast inside of the Joker's laboratory, just destroy it all and trash it in one fell swoop. Stay focused on your mission. Leave the Joker to Izuku. Whatever. As soon as this is over, I'm going after that damn nerd anyway. Bakugo would make his way to the industrial district of the steel mill. There were 2 Titan containers in this location. Kind of ironic, seeing as how the Joker was in his own current situation because he tried to dabble with the power of the Titan. Of course, there were hordes of gang members in all direction, but Bakugo didn't really have time to be getting involved in petty squabbles or fights. Using his own supply of specially made explosive gel, he would tag the first of the 2 containers. He was going to tag them both and then destroy them simultaneously from a distance. That way he wouldn't have to deal with any potential fighting and fallout. After tagging both of the containers, he would detonate the destruction. Of course, the gang members would go running towards it to see what had happened, but by the time they got there, the culprit in question was already long gone. That was 2 down, and only 3 more to go. The next leg of his journey would take him to the subway terminals. There was 1 container above ground and 1 below. Since Penguin had been dealt with, most of his forces were now scattered to the wind, so these areas that were heavily armed and fortified weren't as much as before. First, dealing with the container above ground, Bakugo would blow it up and destroy it, before moving under. He would find that the container was actually close to where the signal jammers that they had destroyed were being placed. It seemed Cobblepot had a couple of his own containers in store. Probably how he was able to mutate some of his men inside of the museum that they fought. After destroying the 2 more containers, I only left 1. And surprisingly enough, that wasn't too far away either. It would cause him to have to go deeper underground, heading towards the remains of Wonder City. In particular, what still remained of it. The foundation that was Wonder Tower. It was the central point of Arkham City, the tower where Hugo Strange himself was being secure. However, the tower that jutted out almost like a skyscraper had its foundation all the way underground, and it seemed like this was where the last container was radiating from. However, as Bakugo entered into the room in question that led to the foundation, he would find that he wasn't alone. He would quickly cut on detective mode only to have his signal being scrambled. He would quickly disengage as someone in the room had spoke up. "Hey, I think I got a signal." "Nah, it's just a glitch." "Man, don't scare me like that. Besides, what is that doohickey of yours anyway?" "It detects if any form of technology or encryption is being used within the room. Say, something akin to night vision or anything else. It's perfect for spotting out those trying to hide in the dark. And seeing as how we're dealing with vigilantes who use it as their specialty, this has been personally supplied by the boss." "What? You mean the Joker?" "No. The guy that runs this place." "Hugo Strange?" "Mm-hmm. He's been the one supplying us with these weapons." "Wait, what?" Bakugo was also taken aback by this, as well as Bruce. "What the hell? Hugo Strange is giving the inmates weapons? Why in the hell would he?" His focus would be turned elsewhere as there was a cry in the room. A couple of the goons had taken a young doctor hostage, although she didn't appear to be one of the volunteers. No, she looked like an ordinary doctor from any hospital within Gotham or Japan, for that matter. Was she kidnapped? All the same, Bakugo now had a rescue on his hands, although he couldn't rely on his detective mode, at least not unless he took out the one carrying the signal jammer on his back. There were about 6 guards in total, all of them with guns, manning the upper and lower decks of the foundation of the Wonder City Tower. Bakugo would move from gargoyle to gargoyle with his grappling hook, as he would wait for the perfect opportunity. He would descend from his perch, moving into the lowering shadows below, crawling to a grate and moving underneath. He moved through the underfloor vents, following closely behind the one holding the signal jammer. Eventually, he would pop out of the crate from behind, putting the said gunman in question into a sleeper hold until he passed out. Bakugo would destroy the signal jammer, now giving him access to his gadget, but even more so, he made sure to destroy the shock collar that was around his neck, which doubled as a heartbeat monitor that would let them all be alerted to when someone else was taken out. With one out of the way, that left 5 more. There were 2 watching over the hostage, while the others were scoping about the area. Eventually, as they all moved to different points, Bakugo would go behind, taking them out one by one. The first 2 were simple enough. Bakugo made sure to leave their monitors intact, to induce a level of fear, to let them know that someone was taking them out from the darkness. With only 3 that remained, 1 would stay with the hostage, while 2 went to go and investigate what had happened. "He's not waking up! This is bad!" "What? Wait, there's only 2. Where's the other one?" "I'll cover these 2. You check." 1 would descend to the lower floors, eventually finding said man in question. "Hey, over here, I think I found some..." What was that?" Bakugo would quickly grapple up to one of the gargoyles, having now taken out yet another of the gunmen. By the time that the one who had heard what had happened had gone down, calling for backup, the one holding the hostage absolutely refused. "Screw you! Everyone for themselves! Come here, pretty doll. You're sticking with me this time." "Oh God, please, somebody help!" "You hear that, you freak? Come anywhere near me, and I'll blow her freaking head off." With one holding the hostage, the other had no choice but to try to scope out the room for himself, all alone. Bakugo could take him down easily, but that left the hostage to deal with. He had to move in from behind, not giving him a moment to see him. He would move under one of the platforms and climb up to the ledge, waiting till he had his back turned. At that moment, Bakugo would jump over the ledge, grab him from behind, and then pick him up and deliver a devastating, exploding suplex onto his back, dropping him straight down on his skull and knocking him out cold. The doctor at first was alarmed at the sight of Bakugo, his red mask being more menacing than anything, and what appeared to be silver-like grenade gauntlets on both of his wrists. However, Bakugo would quickly pick her up before taking her to a secured area, moving her from the underground and up to the surface above. Upon doing so, he would escort her to the church, where other members of the medical team who were being rescued were moving to as a secure location. By the time he got there, Aaron Cash had already been back with his team. He would explain to Bakugo how a mysterious girl had managed to save him and his crew from the Riddler. The young doctor in question would smile, grateful for what Bakugo had done for her. "Thank you. Who are..." "Call me Red Hood." "Oh, Red Hood. I think I know that name. It belonged to a hero long ago." "You're safe now." "Who are you, though?" Aaron would ask. Me? I work at Gotham Med. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I got thrown into a van and dragged here against my will." "You were kidnapped?" "Yes, by men who apparently worked for the Joker. I didn't even know he was still alive. They were talking about trying to get a cure for him or something like that. I don't know anything. I mean, I'm not a doctor of that level or anything. I'm just a nurse and an assistant at most." "She's not with you?" Bakugo would ask Aaron. "No, I'm afraid not. I'm sorry, ma'am. You got involved in all this. Another one of the Joker's antics. And I thought we were done with all that. Well, still, she'll be safer with you all anyway. Right now, you need to bunker down and keep tight. We're getting this place shut down as soon as possible, and we're getting you all out of here." With that, Bakugo would jet up into the air, now ready to head back to the old toy factory to confront Bane and his supposed nephew to see what progress was being made. Of course, Bruce would tell him to stay alert. There was no telling what could be waiting for him once he got back in. There were still a lot more questions left than answers. Titan containers just being left out and about after all this time? Even more so, Bane's involvement in all of this, and the supposed nephew of all things. By the time he arrived back, he could hear a commotion coming from inside. Please, no! I'm just trying to help. Bakugo would immediately race inside to see what was happening. A tall, hooded figure was holding up the doctor who was assisting Bane, and Bane seemingly powerless to do anything. Please, let him go. Huh? So, more fun. Interesting. The doctor would be thrown to the ground as the hooded, large figure turned to face him. Didn't think I'd be running into a hero around these parts. Tell me, how strong are you? What the? It's him, Bakugo would think, as the hooded figure would remove his covering cloth, revealing himself to be none other than the villain, Muscular, or Goto Imosuji, his real name, an associate to the League of Villains with the quirk muscle augmentation. He had the ability to manipulate his muscles, to grow them at will to the point where they couldn't even be contained on the inside, but instead would layer on out, increasing his strength, speed, and his propensity for violence. So, word on the street is you've been going around destroying all of my Titan. Your Titan? But it's probably for the best. Don't need anyone else getting their hands on it. Well, not like any weakling would be capable of using it like I can. I would like to introduce my nephew. Bruce was immediately trying to search for the connection between the two. DNA-wise or familiar-wise, they had none. This had to be a partnership of sorts. Bane had taken Muscular in under his wing and was trying to give him a dose of the Titan. The Titan is powerful. Too powerful for anyone else to use. With his help, I will regain my strength, my mental faculties, and I will be reborn. As the doctor got back to his feet, Muscular would punch a hole right through the man, holding his beating heart on the other side. No! I just wanted to help. Your services are no longer required. Muscular would squeeze the man's heart as he fell to the ground lifeless. Immediately, a squad of Tiger Guards would enter into the building as well, at least 30 of them. Now Bakugo felt like he had to fight a battle on two fronts. Muscular, just becoming chaos incarnate, would start running through the Tiger Guards without any rhyme or reason, Bakugo attempting to fight off some of his own. He saw that the 6 more containers had been brought to this area, and there were more Tiger Guards on the way. There was a commotion happening outside, too. He could hear some familiar voices, The shrieking squeals of a girl taking delight in violence, and the sounds of a man confused about his own identity. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, that looks bad. Well, it couldn't be worse. I mean, you could have had to deal with Toga. What was that, twice? Well, I mean, you did hack, 5 guards into pieces. I just wanted to get closer to them, but it's like no one wants to be my friend. I mean, isn't this a place full of freaks and weirdos where we can all be ourselves? By the time that the 2 more members of the League of Villains had arrived inside, Bakugo was in the fight of his life. Well, it looks like he's having a bit too much fun, and ooh, who's he? Toga said, pointing at Bakugo, disguised as the Red Hood. Don't know, but he's obviously not one of ours. Hey, yo, Musk, we gotta get out of here. Already? You're not going anywhere! Bakugo would throw a fully powered explosion right towards Muscular. However, he merely shrugged it off and threw him to the side. Bane would call out for his nephew to take him. On the outside, Bakugo could hear a helicopter. Immediately, the roof would cave in. As he saw for himself, the villain known as Spinner would come charging. He had multiple cables attached to his back, and he hooked them up to the containers of Titan as they were all being lifted away. Bakugo watched as the containers were all being pulled into a distance, all while Muscular was carrying out his uncle. As they got to the outside, both Toga and Twice were getting ready to head off along with Spinner. They got what they came for. Like we agreed, you're only getting 2 of those things. I want the rest for myself. Yeah, we know the deal. But you're not riding with us. You're gonna have to find your own way out of here. I'll go out the same way I came in. I think I'm gonna go through the sewer. I still need to find that lizard. He and I need to have a little chat. Yeah, you have fun with that. I'm not stepping in lizard poop. Be careful! He might rip out your other eye! Twice would yell. Like that'll ever happen. The Titan. Where are they? Oh yeah. Sorry about this. And I mean, really, you've been such a good mentor to me. And I've learned a lot. But I'm afraid this is where we part ways, my friend. Muscular would then wrap his arms around Bane. The once mighty and powerful, now shriveled and weak, in the bare clutches of Muscular. As he started to activate his quirk, the sounds of bone crunching, snapping, blood gurgling. That's it. Just let it go. Bane could feel every part of him starting to break, bleeding becoming all internal. As the blood spilled from his mouth, he felt like his eyeballs were going to pop out of the sockets. One of them even did. Good night, Pops. By the time Bakugo got to the outside, Muscular dropped the body of the deceased Bane to the ground. Muscular turned back to Bakugo with a sadistic grin. He picked up the one eye of Bane that popped out of his skull and placed it into his own. I owe you this much. Now you'll get to see things like I do. And as for you, my red-headed friend, as much as I'd love to play around, I gotta get out of here. But if you make it out of this, come find me. I'll gladly go another round with ya. And with that, Muscular would drop into the waters down below, Bakugo unable to see him. He moved to where Bane was, Bruce looking through the feed. He held his head down and grimaced. For everything they'd been through, for all the battles, he never wished this upon anyone. Bakugo was attempting to lift the man up. He at least deserved a better place than this. He carried him to the waters and gently let him descend down into them. I'm sorry, It's not your fault, Bruce would say. You had no idea. Quick, you need to rendezvous with Izuku now. What? What happened to him? What's going... Before Bakugo even had a chance to ask, a missile was launched right at his direction. He just narrowly had managed to move himself out of the way. As he looked up to see what was happening, he saw multiple military-grade helicopters heading in his direction, all of them raining down missiles, bringing fire and destruction along with them. Bakugo would continue to move out of the way, attempting to gain cover, looking back and seeing what was happening. What's going on? It's like the whole damn city's under attack. It's just as I feared, Bruce would say. He's done it. Done what? Protocol 10 has begun. This concludes My Hero Academia: The Dark Knight Returns. What If Deku Was Batman? Season 3, OVA 4, The Titan's Nephew. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. And stay tuned as we'll continue with more of My Hero Academia: The Dark Knight Returns. What If Deku Was Batman? Season 3 of the Arkham City arc. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.